It was supposed to be a moment of unity, a solemn visit, cameras rolling, a prime minister showing compassion. Instead, it has ignited one of the loudest public backlashes of the year. Keir Starmer has pledged £10 million to protect mosques across Britain. CCTV, alarms, guards, fencing, and the country has erupted with one question: why only them? He arrived at Peacehaven Mosque in East Sussex with the cameras perfectly positioned, flanked by aides and police, ready to strike the tone of national healing. "I'm so sorry we meet under these circumstances," he said gravely. "We are committing £10 million to support our mosques." Yeah, and it sounded noble, almost presidential. But to millions watching, it felt like another act in a long political theater of selective empathy. Because the same leader who promises protection for some has gone silent for others. Across Britain, people remember the grooming gang victims still waiting for justice. They remember the churches vandalized, the synagogues defaced, the working class families left to fend for themselves. They remember when the government found no funds for them, no protection, no outrage, no media sympathy. And now, watching another press conference drenched in pious language and political optics, they see exactly what this is. Not unity, but calculation. 3 weeks ago, 2 people were murdered in a Manchester synagogue attack. The footage shocked the nation. But there was no grand visit, no multi-million-pound pledge, no national plan to protect Jewish communities. Yet one mosque damaged by a minor arson attempt that harmed no one brings £10 million overnight. That contrast has become the symbol of a Britain divided not by faith, but by favoritism. The reaction online was volcanic. Tens of thousands of comments within hours. British children raped by grooming gangs? Silence. Jews murdered? Silence. One mosque scratched, and he's on his knees handing them money. Another wrote, "I can't afford my heating, but apparently I'm paying for CCTV at a mosque." The fury wasn't about Islam, it was about hierarchy, about who matters when tragedy strikes. Starmer's supporters insisted the funding follows a rise in anti-Muslim hate crime, up 13% last year. But critics point to the numbers Labour refuses to mention. Anti-Semitic incidents up 48%. Christian churches attacked every week. Elderly women beaten for wearing crosses. And not one headline about that. In the name of equality, the government has created a pecking order of victims. Standing beside Starmer that day was Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, herself a proud Muslim, delivering lines crafted for soundbites. "Violence against any faith community is an attack on us all." But even her own words betrayed the contradiction. If it's truly against us all, why is only one group getting the check? Inside number 10, the political logic is clear. Labour is hemorrhaging support nationwide. The party that once spoke for miners, nurses, and factory workers now clings to 4 million Muslim votes, concentrated in key urban constituencies. Every gesture, every policy, every silence is weighed against that electoral math. Protect the base, don't provoke the bloc, ignore the rest. The grooming gang inquiry delayed again, reports rewritten, terms softened, names hidden. Ministers say they're taking time to get it right. Everyone knows what that means. The government is terrified of the truth, terrified it will offend the very voters they now depend on. And so the cycle continues. Public outrage, political excuses, and photo ops designed to distract. Commentators from across the spectrum, Peter Lloyd, Ben Habib, Carl Benjamin, all said the same thing. When a synagogue burns, silence. When a mosque smolders, 10 million hours. When girls are trafficked, indifference. This isn't compassion. It's cowardice. Harsh, maybe, but the numbers don't lie. Even some inside Labour are whispering what the public already knows. Leaked chats show MPs warning the leadership that this performative pandering is destroying their credibility. "We're losing our old voters," one aide admitted. "They think we've swapped class loyalty for cultural appeasement." The truth hurts because it's accurate. Labour used to fight for jobs, homes, and fair wages. Now it fights over optics, hashtags, and outrage management. And the result? A country exhausted by division. Every week, another community elevated, another ignored. Every policy dressed up as moral courage, but dripping with political fear. Starmer's Britain isn't one nation, it's a chessboard where identity groups are pieces to be moved, traded, or sacrificed. The hypocrisy grows clearer by the day. Labour calls Britain a Christian country, yet refuses to defend its Christian identity. Crosses removed from schools, Christmas renamed winter celebrations, clergy prosecuted for sermons while others are shielded by cultural sensitivity. The same government that finds millions for mosque fences can't find pennies for church roofs collapsing from neglect. And then there's the moral double standard no one in Westminster dares name. Muslim victims get empathy. Muslim perpetrators get excuses. The grooming gangs in Rotherham, Rochdale, Telford, each one ignored by Labour councils terrified of being called racist. The same culture of denial now reborn at the highest level of government. Unity, they call it. The rest of Britain calls it betrayal. The outrage is no longer confined to online fringes. It's mainstream. Middle-aged mums, retired teachers, young men who never voted before, all saying the same thing. We don't recognize this country anymore. Because compassion used to mean fairness. Now it means strategy. And when critics push back, they're branded far right. Yet. But these people aren't extremists. They're taxpayers, parents, ordinary citizens who feel abandoned by the people they once trusted. They see a prime minister who preaches tolerance while practicing double standards, who talks about national unity while dividing the nation for votes. Meanwhile, communities that genuinely need protection, Jewish, Christian, Sikh, are left behind. Their fears don't trend. Their stories don't fit the narrative. And when they protest, they're told to mind their tone. Even some artificial intelligence tools analyzing spending data flag the imbalance. Zero targeted funds for Christian security, millions for Muslim protection. Equal words, unequal action. It's mathematical bias dressed up as moral duty. In the pubs of Yorkshire, in Essex cafes, in London suburbs, people talk about it plainly. They think we don't notice, said one man, but we see who gets protected and who gets forgotten. In a nation built on fairness, nothing cuts deeper than the sense that fairness is gone. Starmer's problem isn't that he's too compassionate. It's that his compassion looks conditional, granted to some, withheld from others, weaponized for politics. And once people believe that, no amount of speeches or hashtags can restore trust. Polling in the past week shows Labour collapsing in northern constituencies once considered unshakable. Working-class voters feel mocked. Jewish voters feel abandoned. Even secular Britons who rarely think about faith feel the hypocrisy. Because they know what double standards look like, they live with them every day. In the end, this isn't about mosques or money. It's about the kind of country Britain is becoming. A nation where the government buys virtue with taxpayer cash, where silence is rewarded, outrage is managed, and justice depends on which group you belong to. $10 million for mosques, none for synagogues, none for the victims of grooming gangs, none for the ordinary citizens who keep the lights on while politicians chase approval ratings. That's the Britain people see now, a two-tier state with one standard for the powerful and another for everyone else. And as the cameras fade and Starmer's motorcade leaves the mosque, the anger doesn't fade with it. It grows. In homes, in conversations, in the quiet fury of people who no longer believe the government speaks for them. They know what $10 million can buy. They also know what trust once meant. Because when protection becomes selective, when compassion becomes political currency, and when fairness becomes a slogan instead of a value, a country stops being united. It becomes something colder, a place where even safety has a price tag. And right now, that price is $10 million.